As a brain doctor, I'm shocked this habit raises stroke risk by 300%. If I told you that a single action you took this morning could triple your risk of stroke, would you believe it? Every morning, millions of people start their day with a familiar routine, jumping out of bed, pouring a cup of coffee, and checking the news on their phones. But among these habits, there is one that is especially dangerous for people over 60. Silently attacking the brain without their awareness. What if I told you that I have witnessed too many previously healthy patients suddenly lose their ability to walk just because of this habit? Are you absolutely sure you're not doing it right this very morning? I clearly remember Mr. William, 67 years old, a man full of energy who loved his morning walks and never missed his first cup of coffee. He came to see me for a routine checkup, and all results were completely normal. Yet just 3 days later, I received a frantic call from his wife. "Doctor, he can't speak, and one side of his face is drooping." When I saw him again in the emergency room, his eyes were full of confusion. His body no longer responded as before, and his speech was fragmented. The most terrifying part was that everything happened within minutes that very morning. What had Mr. William done? It wasn't a fall, nor a major dietary mistake, but neglecting a small thing his doctor had warned him about for years. Simply thinking, "I'll do it later," he left a dangerous window open for the stroke to strike. Have you ever delayed or ignored an important morning task just because you thought, "Just a little later"? I will tell you exactly what this habit is, why it is so dangerous that it increases stroke risk by 300%, and, more importantly, how to replace it with a safer routine to protect your brain starting tomorrow morning. But first, do you know why the morning is the time when the brain is most vulnerable? If not, you need to hear the next part.
Hidden risks in the morning. For many people, morning is the most pleasant time of day, but for the brain, especially in individuals over 60 years old, it is the most vulnerable period. Did you know that right after waking up, our blood pressure naturally spikes? This phenomenon is called the morning blood pressure surge, and according to comprehensive studies, every 10 milligrams per mercury increase in morning blood pressure raises stroke risk by about 11%. Why does the body behave this way? Simply put, after a night's sleep, the sympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for the fight or flight response, activates strongly, releasing hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones help you wake up, but also increase heart rate and constrict blood vessels. For an aging vascular system already hardened or narrowed, this acts like a pressure test for the brain. Moreover, after 7 to 8 hours without water intake, your blood thickens and circulation slows, making it harder for blood to reach the brain. Research shows that stroke patients admitted while dehydrated have a recovery rate 4 times worse than those adequately hydrated. Have you ever felt a slight headache, dry mouth, or mild dizziness upon waking? These are silent signals indicating your brain is thirsty for oxygen and nutrients. There is yet another factor that few pay attention to. Morning habits are often formed over decades and operate almost instinctively. You might jump out of bed too quickly, drink coffee on an empty stomach, or ignore dizziness by thinking, "I'm just getting old." But this complacency turns the first few minutes after waking into a danger zone for your brain. Imagine standing on an old bridge. Normally, it can support your weight as you cross. But if you suddenly jump on it, carry a heavy suitcase, and a strong wind blows, will the bridge still hold? Your brain and vascular system in the morning are just like that bridge, and many people unknowingly add extra burdens with seemingly harmless habits. So which habit really is the last straw, turning morning into the most dangerous moment for your brain? It is the #1 habit I'm about to share. A small action, but neglecting it could cost you dearly for life. Can you guess what it is?
Dangerous habit number 1.
It is skipping or improperly taking your morning medications, especially those prescribed to protect your cardiovascular system and brain. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But I have witnessed countless patients suffer strokes simply because they were careless with their own medications. Have you ever thought that delaying your medication by just a few hours or missing a single dose wouldn't matter? The problem is that medications such as antihypertensives, anticoagulants, or cholesterol-lowering drugs have a golden time window to maximize their effectiveness. For many of these medications, that window is in the morning, when blood pressure and heart rate begin to rise rapidly. When you skip or delay taking your meds, your body loses its shield of protection during the most vulnerable time. A 2023 study on anticoagulant users showed that even slight reductions in adherence significantly increase the risk of stroke and death. This risk doesn't only arise from missing doses for several consecutive days. Sometimes just a few forgotten doses are enough to create a dangerous gap. I remember a 72-year-old woman with atrial fibrillation who was prescribed anticoagulants. She believed that if she missed her morning dose, doubling the dose in the afternoon would be fine. But that morning, without the medication in her bloodstream, a blood clot formed and traveled to her brain. She became hemiplegic right after breakfast. What's crucial is that this stroke could have been completely prevented if she had adhered to the medication schedule. Are you unintentionally putting yourself at similar risk? Beyond forgetting medication, many people take it incorrectly, swallowing pills dry without water, or taking them alongside strong coffee or tea. This prevents proper dissolution and absorption, essentially pretending to take the medicine. Some also adjust their dosing times on their own to avoid forgetting, or reduce doses fearing side effects without realizing they are dismantling the brain's protective barrier. The solution is actually very simple. You can set alarms on your phone, use a weekly pill organizer, or keep your medication somewhere visible right after waking. Take your medications with a full glass of plain water before coffee or breakfast. Most importantly, never adjust doses without consulting your doctor. Those pills are your brain's gatekeepers every morning. Would you ever leave your house without locking the door? Ask yourself, did you take your medication on time and properly this morning? If the answer is not sure or I forgot, then you are starting your day without a protective shield for your brain. And even if you get this right, there are other habits silently eroding brain health that many don't realize. Would you like to know what they are so you can avoid them starting tomorrow morning? Additional habits that sharply increase risk. Even if you take your medication on time, many people unknowingly do another thing that significantly reduces the protective effect on the brain: drinking coffee on an empty stomach. Sounds familiar, right? For many, the morning cup of coffee is an indispensable ritual. But for older adults, especially those with high blood pressure or hardened arteries, this can be a dangerous trigger for the circulatory system. Caffeine stimulates the adrenal glands to release adrenaline, causing the heart to beat faster, blood vessels to constrict, and blood pressure to spike suddenly. A 2011 study showed that the risk of ischemic stroke doubles within 1 hour after drinking coffee, particularly on an empty stomach, because caffeine is absorbed more quickly. Additionally, many people ignore morning dizziness or muscle weakness, attributing it to just waking up or old age. But in reality, these may be early signs of a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, a red flag warning of a major stroke in the future. If you feel slight numbness on one side of your face, weakness in your arm, or unusual speech, even if only for a few minutes, treat it as an emergency. The solution here is simple. Drink a glass of plain water before your coffee, have a light snack to slow caffeine absorption, and absolutely do not ignore any abnormal symptoms, even for a few seconds. This is like checking your brakes before going downhill. It takes little time, but can save your life. Do you recognize yourself in one of these two additional habits? And if I told you there is still another seemingly harmless morning habit that is actually a time bomb for your brain, would you be willing to hear it now to prevent it? Remember Mr. William? After being discharged, he completely changed his mornings, taking medication promptly right after waking up, drinking a full glass of water before breakfast, and completely giving up coffee on an empty stomach. 3 months later, he returned for a follow-up visit, walking steadily, speaking more clearly, and most importantly, free from the fear of, "Will I have another stroke?" Just a few small changes helped him regain control over his health.
So, to protect your brain, remember these 3 golden rules. Take medication on time. Avoid strong stimulants. Listen to early warning signs. But the question is, will you start tomorrow or wait until your brain speaks to you with a stroke? You see, aging does not suddenly weaken the brain. Rather, it is the small daily choices, especially in the morning, that silently accumulate into a major threat. Just one missed dose, 1 cup of coffee on an empty stomach, or one ignored dizzy spell could be the final link leading to a stroke. How much longer will you let these habits persist? I firmly believe that your health is not a matter of chance or luck. It is the direct outcome of the choices you make every single day. Morning is the crucial moment when you lay the foundation for the entire day ahead. And it is also when your brain is most vulnerable and in greatest need of protection. By committing to simple but powerful changes starting tomorrow, taking your medication exactly on time, properly hydrating your body, having a nutritious breakfast before that first cup of coffee, and tuning in carefully to every subtle signal your body sends, you are giving yourself an invaluable gift, a better chance to live a longer, healthier, and more vibrant life. Now I want to hear from you. Among all the habits I've shared with you today, which one do you recognize as the biggest challenge in your own morning routine? Or perhaps you have already made some changes in how you start your day and noticed remarkable improvements in your health and energy. Please share your experiences and stories in the comments below. Your insights could be the key that helps someone else avoid a serious health crisis. If you found this video meaningful and helpful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends and loved ones, and don't forget to subscribe to Golden Vitality, your trusted source for practical, science-based health knowledge designed to empower you to live confidently and well beyond 50 years of age. And if you're eager to explore more comprehensive strategies for reducing your stroke risk, be sure to watch the video linked in the description. We will meet again in the next episode, where I will reveal yet another surprisingly common and equally dangerous morning mistake that many people unknowingly make. Can you really afford to miss it? Your brain deserves your full attention.